Hey everyone, Mitch here from the Commander's Quarters, and on today's episode, I've got an exciting 10-minute tech talk for you on Giada. That's right, a deck tech in 10 minutes or less, and keep in mind that every single card in this deck outside of the Commander is less than $1, so it's a very budget-friendly deck. Now with all that said, oh goodness, I'm ready for this, here we go. Let's start the timer and let's jump into it. Giada, Fawn of Hope, is a 2/2 angel with flying and vigilance that costs 1 and a white, and she has each other angel you control enters the battlefield with additional +1 counter on it for each angel you already control, and she can tap out a white, spend its mana only to cast an angel spell. So Giada is a fantastic low-to-the-ground commander that can not only help us get angels out by being a mana dork essentially for them, but also she can make them massive. Again, the more angels that we have in play, the bigger they are going to get when they come into play. So yeah, a fantastic angel tribal commander. Now, outside of Giada, let's move on to the ramp section. Of course, we've got other ways to ramp as well, with cards like Mind Stone, Prismatic Lens, and Felwar Stone, which each cost 2 and tap for 1. For Marble, Diamond, Guardian Idol, and Ebony Flyer up next, they each enter the battlefield tapped and tap for 1, and you know what? That's going to be fine as well. Next up, though, we've got a very flexible and fantastic mana rock with Everflowing Chalice. Essentially, we can pay 2 or 4 or 6, and essentially we get half the amount of mana that we put back into it. So, depending on where we're at and what we want to spend on this, it can be great. Next up, we've got some mana rocks that can help us draw as well, like Mind Stone with Commander Sphere, Hedron Archive, and Dreamstone Hedron. Commander Sphere can just sack to do so. Hedron Archive, we pay 2 and tap and sack to draw 2. Dreamstone Hedron, very similar, pay 3 and tap to sacrifice to draw 3. But yeah, these bigger mana rocks, again, Hedron Archive and Dreamstone Hedron, tap for even more mana to help us get out even more angels. And next up, let's talk about cheap angels, though. Angels we can get down really early. Starting off with Segovian Angel, a fantastic one in this deck. Just a 1/1 flyer with vigilance that costs 1. So yeah, again, this can be massive, though, when it comes into play. Again, based on the number of creatures that we have already in play that are angels, this thing can come down, and just for 1 mana, we can have, you know, a 10/10 at a certain point, which can be fantastic. So, of course, we've got other low-to-the-ground angels like Angelic Curator, Angelic Page, and Sarah Avenger. Curator has protection from artifacts and flying. Angelic Page has flying and can also give a target attacking or blocking creature +1/+1 until end of turn. Sarah Avenger is a 3/3 flying vigilance, but we can't cast it during the first, second, or third turn, but that's okay. We'll just cast it for cheap later, and it's going to be massive. Next up, Inspiring Overseer is a 2/1 with flying that has when it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life and draw a card. As you will see, mono white does struggle with card draw, so we'll talk about some other ways to draw cards as well, but it's just always nice to have an initial effect like this. Emancipation Angel has when it enters the battlefield, returning permanent you control to its owner's hand. This can really help with any ETBs, and also, again, if we just have a small angel in play, we bring it back to our hand and we recast it to make it massive again, because maybe there are more angels in play this time. Resplendent Marshal is another one that can really help us out. A 3/3 flying angel warrior that has when it enters the battlefield or dies, you may exile another creature card from your graveyard. When you do, put a +1 counter on each creature you control other than Resplendent Marshal that shares a creature type with the exile card. So basically, exile any creature card from your graveyard, get counters on your angels. And then, of course, we've got Stalwart Valkyrie, a 3/2 angel warrior with flying that has a higher mana cost than these other cheap angels, but it says you may pay 1 and a white and exile a creature card from your graveyard rather than pay the spell's mana cost. So yeah, basically there's 2 mana to get out this. That's fantastic. Next up, we've got some big angels, though, and the first one's going to be the Golden Pig of this deck, which is, of course, the #1 card out of our 99. The Golden Pig for this deck is Herald of War, a 3/3 angel with flying that says, when it attacks, put a +1 counter on it. Angel spells and human spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each +1 counter on Herald of War. Obviously, you know, just by attacking, we get counters on this, but of course, when we've got more angels in play with our commander, this can get a ton of counters on it just by coming into play, and can essentially make our angels cost almost nothing to cast. So yeah, Herald of War is a fantastic card in this deck, definitely the Golden Pig in my opinion. Next up, though, we've got some other great angels with Guardian Seraph and Indomitable Archangel. Guardian Seraph is going to prevent damage from opponent sources. Indomitable Archangel has Metalcraft. Artifacts you control have Shroud as long as you control 3 more artifacts, so protecting our mana rocks, not a bad thing. Next up, a Mirror Angel, Herald the Host, and Karmic Guide can help us with more creatures. Mirror Angel has Landfall. We can get a little 1/1 flyers whenever we have lands come into play. Herald the Host has Myriad, so yeah, when we attack, we can get copies of it coming into play, and again, they can get massive thanks to the number of angels in play with our commander. Karmic Guide can help us get creatures back from our graveyard, and yeah, that can just be a great way to, hey, oh, you dealt with my big creature? It's back now thanks to Karmic Guide. Next up, Angel of Grace. When it enters the battlefield, until end of turn, damage will reduce your life total to less than 1, reduce it to 1 instead. This can really help us save us in a very, very Interesting situation. And also, we can exile from our graveyard to make our life total become 10. Mary Shepherd can provide us a ton of value throughout the game. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may return target non-land permanent from your graveyard to your hand. If it's a plains, though, and yeah, we've got plenty of plains, return that non-land permanent card to the battlefield instead. So this can be a fantastic way to get a ton of value throughout the game. Speaking of value, Sarah's Guardian has flying and vigilance and says other creatures you control have vigilance. Yeah, being able to swing out and just keep our creatures back for defense too is huge. We also have other creatures that can kind of help out with combat. Angel of Dawn says when it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance on a turn, so a one-off effect, but still a very effective one. Patron of the Valiant has when it enters the battlefield, put a +1 counter on each creature you control, a +1 counter on it. Basically, all of our angels are going to get counters. And Sigarda's Vanguard has flash and flying. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, choose any number of creatures with different powers. Those creatures gain double strike until end of turn. This can help us hit twice as hard, and yeah, this can be a massive play on either ETB or attack. Now, speaking of pumping our creatures and making them hit harder, let's talk about some anthems. The Raven Watcher is a fantastic angel, a 2/2 flying vigilant angel that's going to give other non-token creatures we control +1/+1 and vigilance. Speaking of which, we have Always Watching, which is basically the enchantment version of this, and then Dictate of Heliod's another great enchantment. Flash and creatures you control get +2/+2 to help all of our creatures hit even harder. Now we've got some angels that are, well, let's just say technically angels. And we've got Universal Automaton, Bloodline Pretender, and Regular Cohort, which of course are shapeshifters with Changeling. Universal Automaton just a 1/1, but it has Changeling, so again, it's an angel. And again, just kind of like, that first angel we talked about, a 1-mana angel is going to be massive in this deck because if we've got a ton of angels in play, cool, we get into play and it becomes huge. Bloodline Pretender can also get huge, a 2/2 that has when it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type, so angel. And then whenever another angel enters the battlefield under our control, we get another counter on Bloodline Pretender. This thing can get huge. Then a Regular Cohort is a 2/2 with Changeling, and when it enters the battlefield, we get another 2/2 with Changeling. So yeah, this can really help just kind of spread out our army and get a ton of counters on each of these. Next up, though, let's move on to some card advantage spells, starting off with an angel with Sanctuary Warden. Sanctuary Warden is a 5/5 flyer that has enters the battlefield with 2 shield counters on it. And when it enters the battlefield or attacks, remove a counter from a creature planeswalker we control. If we do, draw a card and create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. This is just fantastic card advantage throughout the game. Again, we're going to have a ton of counters in play. We don't have to get rid of those shield counters. Really, we can just get rid of +1/+1 counters to draw with this. Rumor Gatherer is another fantastic card from New Capenna. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. If the second time its ability is resolved this turn, draw a card instead. Great card selection and great card advantage on this. Speaking of which, Sandstone Oracle has, when it enters the battlefield, choose an opponent. If that player has more cards in hand than you, draw cards equal to difference. We're in mono white. Chances are pretty likely that we are going to draw a lot of cards with this. Again, if someone's got 7, we've got 2. We just drew 5 cards with this 1 card. Next up, we've got ways to help our creatures help us draw cards with Rogue's Gloves and Mask of Memory. Rogue's Gloves has, whenever a equipped creature deals combat to a player, you may draw a card. Mask of Memory is going to have us draw 2 cards doing the exact same thing, but if we do, we discard a card. Regardless, our angels, for the most part, have flying, so they're very evasive. We can get them through, and we can draw a lot of cards with these. Next up, Investigator's Journal has when it enters the battlefield with a number of counters on it equal to the greatest number of creatures a player controls. We can pay 2 and tap to remove a counter from it to draw a card, and we can actually sacrifice to draw a card too. Lore Seeker's Stone has pay 3, tap, draw 3 cards. It's going to cost 1 more to activate for each card in our hand, but again, we're in mono white, so we might be low on cards. Pen of Prosperity has, it's going to enter the battlefield under control of an opponent of our choice. That player can pay 2 to tap to draw a card and put a land card from their hand on the battlefield. Then we get to do the same. So yeah, make friends with this and make some deals to get some extra advantages. Next up, let's talk about Search the Premises and Thorough Investigation. Some great ways to make clues. Search the Premises says whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, investigate. So just some nice additional value when players decide to attack us. And Thorough Investigation says whenever you attack, investigate. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, venture in the dungeon. We're going to be attacking a lot with this deck. Again, we've got a lot of evasive creatures, so keep doing that, keep venturing, keep getting clues. Next up, let's move on to removal. We've got Oblation, which can make the owner of target non-land permanent shuffle into the library, then draw 2 cards. We can use this on an opponent's thing or on one of our things if we really need to draw. Kush Contraband is going to exile target artifact or enchantment. Just a fantastic removal spell. Got some angels that can help us out. Angel of Sanctions can exile target non-land permanent until it leaves the battlefield. Admonition Angel basically is similar, but with landfall. Angel of Serenity can exile up to 3 target creatures from the battlefield and or graveyards. When it leaves the battlefield, those get returned to owner's hands. Next up, we've got Sunblast Angel, Angel of the Dire Art, and Angel of Finality, which can also help us out. Sunblast Angel is going to destroy all tapped creatures when it comes into play. Angel of the Dire Hour is going to exile all attacking creatures, which can be huge. Angel of Finality can get rid of a player's graveyard, which can also be huge, especially against graveyard decks. Tragic Arrogance, Cleansing Nova, and Okroma's Vengeance are also just fantastic board wipes. Tragic Arrogance makes players sacrifice things. Cleansing Nova, we can choose one to destroy all creatures, destroy all artifacts, and enchantments. And Corrosive Vengeance can destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments, or we can cycle it for 3. Finally, let's talk about protection. Aegis Angel, when it comes into the battlefield, we can make target permanent indestructible for as long as Aegis Angel is in the battlefield. This is a great way to protect our commander. Speaking of which, Breathkeeper Seraph has Soul Bond whenever it's paired with another creature. When this creature dies, returns to the battlefield under its control at the beginning of the next end step. Another great way to protect our commander or another important angel and keep them coming back. Finally, we've got Make a Stand, Unbreakable Formation, Brave the Elements, some great ways to protect our team. Make a Stand is going to give creatures we control indestructible +1 with 0. Unbreakable Formation is going to give indestructible as well. It can also give a counter in Vigilance. And Brave the Elements is going to give our white creatures, which again is the vast majority of our creatures, protection the color of our choice until end of turn. I think we got like 5 seconds left. Price, really quick. As I mentioned before, every single card in this deck outside the commander is less than $1, and it's like $33 total, so it's a very budget-friendly deck. Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. All right. Oh, that was fun. Yeah, my goodness, that was a very quick 10 minutes that really got caught up to me. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed it. Again, I think a lot of players out there are going to be really excited about this new Angel Tribal Commander. And yeah, of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.